everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jess and today's video is going to be every single book on my owned physical TBR. I do one of these videos once a year. Well, I started it last year, but I plan to do it once a year at the beginning of each year. So I thought I would start off this year with going through every single book in my physical owned TBR. This includes my Kindle books I've already got downloaded, as well as each and every single one of my physical books. You can see one of my book stacks over here, which is particularly tall, which is honestly one of my goal areas. He'll be including some things in my physical TBR that I didn't count this past year because I found it a bit too confusing. So things like gifted books I will be now adding onto the TBR count because of course they do count as an extra book to TBR. However, they're going to be something that doesn't matter if they go over. Like if I get gifted books for my birthday, for example, and that goes over my TBR count, it doesn't mean that I have to take a punishment read because it's a gift, you know. It doesn't need to count towards a punishment, because that's like saying someone can't give me a book because I'm doing the TBR challenges. That's not how it works. I will also be including all of my manga on this list as well, my graphic novels, and I include my Kindle Unlimited, I include my Kindle books, then I should be including my manga as well. So yeah, there's a couple of new kind of categories that are going in. I will also be creating my spreadsheet after finishing filming this video, and of course I may even get to show you guys it at one point, but I plan to do my spreadsheet slightly different this year as well and have it more kind of colour blocked to see. One of my goals is going to be to try and clear a lot of my backlog, and by backlog I mean the books that I literally have not rotated around in my collection for a very long time, meaning mainly my thriller books. As always, I'm going to start this video with my Kindle Unlimited books I already have pre-downloaded. Now I will say I have unhauled a fair amount of my Kindle Unlimited books this past year because I do find that I don't read them. I don't have Kindle Unlimited, I just have the Kindle app on my iPad. But I do find that I definitely don't reach for Kindle books as much as I reach for my physical books. So I still have Cress and Winter by Marissa Myers to read from my Kindle app. I've had these downloaded for a while. I'm honestly debating on unhauling these because I don't know if I'm actually going to continue the series. The only reason why I'm holding on to it is because Rachel Catherine on YouTube might be reading this series this upcoming year and she might inspire me to go back and finish this series. But at this moment in time, I am in this kind of area where I'm not sure if I want to continue the series or not, to be honest. I feel like I'm too kind of disconnected from the series now to even try and continue it. Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield is another like thrillery book. I still want to read this. I've heard great things about it. It's just something that again is like very low on my priority list, particularly with the genre that it is. And that's kind of like the same with Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I've heard that one's really good as well, but again it's so low on my priority list because I just don't read thrillers, crime books that often at all. But I would be quite happy to read those two eventually. And that is it for my Kindle books. Do you know what? There was a while there where I had quite a few on there and I just was not reading, but I'm quite happy with that. Only 4 books on my Kindle books that I have downloaded. And I think 2 of them I definitely will get to, and the other 2 I'm not sure about, but we'll see. This year I would love to clear off my Kindle and just kind of buy books as and when I feel like they are ones I want to read on the Kindle app. And I also want to stop buying, like, you know, the 99p deals that they do on Amazon, which is so good for Kindle Unlimited books. But I want to stop buying just like, you know, the quick romance reads and start kind of focusing on a romance. If I'm going to buy a romance, getting a romance that I actually think I'm going to enjoy and like the sound of the concept of. Because I do think a lot of my lower star ratings this year have come from Kindle Unlimited books that were 99p that was like, oh, I'll just read it, you know. And I read it and actually I would have much rather spent my time reading a 5-star romance read. A new category that I will be counting this year is going to be my manga collection because I do plan to read a fair amount of manga this year. So I've got Tokyo Ghoul Volume 1 and Volume 3. These are the 2 that I currently own at the beginning of this year that I will be hopefully reading this year. And then I also own volumes 0 all the way through to 7 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I am so excited to read this. I am going to be watching season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen because it officially finished coming out yesterday, and I will be watching that going into the new year, so I'm very excited to read these and also watch season 2 of JJK, which just came out. I have a few books that I kind of am going to categorize as like literary fiction and memoirs slash, I don't know what category they fall into, so we'll do them now. So we've got Dear Life by Rachel Clark. This is a memoir from a doctor's point of view. I did start reading this, I think last year, maybe even the year before, but I really didn't get that far because honestly in the first chapter I started crying. I I think she was talking about a woman with cancer, and it just was a hard moment for me, and then I ended up putting the book down because I wasn't in the mood. I do find memoirs particularly difficult to read sometimes, and I really like listening to audiobook versions of them. I might see if there is an audiobook version of this book, but I would like to slowly get through this. It is the only memoir sat on my physical TBR right now. Then we have Bunny by Mona Awad. This is an old one on my collection, so I should really read this at some point. Verity by Colleen Hoover, a cult classic if you've ever watched Book Talk. And Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This is one that I really do want to get around to at some point in 2024, kind of early on. I will say I'm not going to talk about all of these books in detail. I'm just going to go through them because there is going to be quite a few, and if I talk about all of them at length, we're going to be here for a long time. So the next ones are my epic high fantasy reads, which honestly probably won't be read until I finish university completely, but that will be happening this year in March. So I have the next trilogy in the Robin Hobb series, which is Ship of Magic, The Mad Ship, and The Ship of Destiny. I also have the first two books in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, which are The Final Empire and The Well of Ascension. One of my tallest stacks is my thriller crime books, and like I said, this is a massive goal for me this upcoming year, so I will go through these with you guys. Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, The Green Mile by Stephen King, How the Dead Speak by Val McDermid, Deep Fear by Rachel Lynn, Misery by Stephen King, The Institute by Stephen King, Cuckoo's Calling and The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith, Chain by Adrian McKinty, Presumed Guilty by Tess Gretterson, Perfect Silence by Helen Fields, Broken Monsters by Lauren Bukes, The Paris Apartment by Lucy Fowley, The Christmas Murder Game by Alexandra Benedict, and finally Where the Crawdads Sing by Delilah Owens, which again is really high on my priority list because I got the gift this for my birthday and I am intrigued to start it straight away. I currently own 2 books on my physical TBR that I have not actually got the first book in the series for. So I have The Mrs. by E.L. James. The first book is The Mister, so I need to purchase that before I can read this. And we have Wildfire by Hannah Grace, which is part of an interconnected series, which I think it's Icebreaker that I need to read first. I know you don't have to, but I want to, so I won't be reaching for either of these 2 until I've read the first books. I have quite a few classics, but I am guilty of not reading classics, so again, another goal of mine is to read a good amount of classics this year. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon, Mansfield Park by Jane Austen, Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I don't know how to say this, I'm so sorry, I know I'm butchering it. Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L.F. Barn, Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea by L.M. Montgomery, and Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens by J.M. Barrie. Okay, moving on to romances. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mera, I think. I'm not sure if this is a romance, classified strictly as a romance, but it apparently has romance in it. From Luke Off with Love by Marina Zapata, The Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis, Wishless and Road Trips by Lauren H. May, Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry, the last Emily Henry book that I have to read, Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey, and Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. Then I have some series continuation books. So I have the next 2 books in the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. I have Powerless and Reckless. The last book in the Broken Beautiful series by Tessa Bailey, Make Me. The next 2 books in the Kingdom of the Wicked series by Kerry Maniscalco, Kingdom of the Curse and Kingdom of the Feared. The next book in the Adrian and Izzy series by Scarlett St. Clair, Queen of Myth and Monsters. The second book in the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness, Shadow of Night. Iron Flame, the second book in the Empyrean series. And I also have A Game of Retribution by Scarlett St. Clair, the next in the Hayes and Persephone series. This stack over here that you've seen in the back of this video so far are all books that are the start of series. And if you guys know, I have been trying to not start series, which is great, but this means that a lot of books that are from the start of series have sat on my bookshelves this past year and are part of my physical TBR because I want to start these series, but I have stopped myself to try and complete more series this year than I've started. So next year will probably be a bit of a series starting kind of year, but it's okay as long as I finish some series too. We have The Song of the Marked by S.M. Gayford, The First in the Shadows and Crowns series, Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I think this is part of a series, but it also could be a standalone. I could be wrong, but this is again one that probably won't be read for a very long time, I'm not gonna lie. Ergon by by Christopher Polononi, which is book 1 in the Inheritance cycle. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, the first in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, the first in the Dance of Thieves duology. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, the first in the duology. Guild by Raven Kennedy, the first in the Plated Prisoner series. I'm very excited to read this one actually. This Vicious Grace by Emily Feed, the first in a duology. Powerless by Lauren Roberts, one that was a cult favourite this past year that I again really want to read soon. The first book in the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber. The Witch's Kiss by Catherine and Elizabeth Kaur. I don't know how many books are in this series, but I am excited. It sounds like a good one to read. Lightlark by Alex Astor. And finally, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. The stack of books that I have next to me is only a small stack, but these are all books that have been gifted to me over Christmas time, or if I did purchase them, or I purchased myself using a Waterstones gift card. So these are technically gifted books. A Game of Gods by Scarlett Sinclair, which is a series continuation. Sad Ghost Club Free by Liz Meddings, which is the series continuation for the Sad Ghost Club, but also the final book that I know of. Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Roberts. Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. Guys, which the edition of this book I am obsessed with, so very happy about this. And finally we have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. And those are all the books on my physical TBR. I actually have no idea how many books are on my physical TBR. I have not counted before sitting down to film this video, so yeah, you guys will see a total number pop up on the screen that you guys can hopefully take with you, and that we will be taking into the first Defeat the TBR episodes for this year. I am very, very, very excited for the TBR this year, and I'm also feeling kind of confident about reading a good chunk from my physical TBR this upcoming year. That's everything for today's video. Let me know in the comments below if you have your own physical TBR and how many books you have on it, or let me know in the comments below any books that you would like to see me mention in vlogs or reading vlogs that you would like to see specific content for, or that you're intrigued to hear my thoughts and feelings about, because I will try and get around to them a little bit quicker than I maybe would do without your guys' opinions. That's everything for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please do a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Let's see more videos from me, and catch you guys all in my next one. Bye!